This video will show you how to edit video using YouTube's built-in video editor. So of course the first thing you need is a YouTube account. You can use your existing Gmail address if you have one, or you'll have to create a Google account because Google controls YouTube, controls the universe. So once you've done that and you've logged in, the first thing you'll do is click the upload button here in the upper right hand corner. And here you'll see the upload page, and this is where you can upload video files if you've taken video on a camera. You can capture video with your webcam, you can create a slideshow, you can do a Google Hangout, but what we're going to look at is the video editor here in this right hand panel. So to get started, click Edit. And what you'll see now is the video editor setup. And at the top is the text box where you can name your video. On the left you have the video panel where you'll see the video that you're working with. On the right is kind of your palette, if you want to call it that, where you can grab the materials you want to use. And then at the bottom you have a timeline, and that's where you're going to put the clips you're going to work with. So let's talk about the palette a little bit. It automatically shows your videos, so any videos you've uploaded to your YouTube account. So here I've got quite a few clips that I've uploaded to this account I use for my teaching. Next, you have Creative Commons videos, and the Creative Commons is a type of copyright license that filmmakers, photographers, basically anyone who creates something can use a Creative Commons license, and it gives a little bit more control and freedom over how your work can be used. And the videos here have all been uploaded with what's called an attribution only license, which means all you have to do to use this video is give credit to the person who originally made it. So you've got a lot to work with, and you can kind of scroll and add more. You can search for Creative Commons videos, and there's some cool stuff in there, but we're not going to play around with that this time. Next is a button or tab for photos, so you can upload photos if you want to add still photos to your video. Then there's a tab for music, and here YouTube provides some music you can use. So there's all kinds of stuff on here again, and some of them don't have any little marks next to them, and those you can use regardless, without any stipulations. But the ones with this little tag here means that if you use the song, they might show ads on your video. So that's up to you. You can also add your own music if you so desire. The next tab is for transitions. So this would create the transitions between your clips, and you're really going to want to stick to a crossfade or a cross blur or a color fade, which would mean fading through black or another color. They're the most common transitions that you'd see. The other ones that are available can get a little distracting. So you're going to want to stick to the top three. And then the last tab is for text. So you can add a title, a banner, or some other types of things where there's a centered fade, so your text would fade out, it would slide in, or zoom in on the words. But we're going to start off by working with the clips. So back to my videos. And if I forget what I'm looking for, I can search videos. And for this demonstration, I'm going to use a clip from On the Waterfront. So I'm just going to search waterfront. And here are the 3 clips that I have. And you can either click this plus sign when you hover over a clip, and that'll add it to your timeline, or you can kind of grab it and drag down. And if you drag something and find that, oh, that's not the clip I wanted, again, hover over it and you get an X and click that and you remove the clip. When you drag a clip in to your timeline, it automatically starts playing, so you get to see, you know, what you've picked and make sure it's the right one. And you can look at it, you know, before you determine your edits. So I'm going to pause it, and I have my volume turned all the way down while I'm recording this, but you can, you know, have your volume playing while you're working if you want. And there are two ways to edit your clips. You see you have this blue bar that goes through and tells you the time code, where you are in the clip, and it also has this little scissor icon. So if you click that, it splits your clip in two. So instead of a 30-second clip, I now have a 23-second and an 8-second clip. And if I don't want this clip that I've just made, if I've cut it because I want to get rid of it, I can click the X. And now I'm just left with the 23 seconds. Now, that's still more than I want to use. So the other way to cut down your clip is if you click on it, you get the blue brackets on either side, and you can just kind of click and drag those to make your clip shorter or longer. And the playhead in the video screen kind of catches up as you shorten it. So I want to start my clip here the second time it cuts to her, to Eva Marie Saint, kind of crying into her gloves. And it'll show me where I've started. And now I can set my end point. So click the bar on the right and then drag that to where I want it. Now I want it to end right here when it cuts back to Marlon Brando. So now I've cut it down from a 30-second clip to a 5-second clip. Now when you're working with your clips, there are some things you can do. And since I'm using an existing film clip here, I'm not really going to play with too many of these things, but if you're using your own video, you can click Auto Fix, and that'll change your lighting and color to try and kind of even out everything. You can change the brightness and contrast here. You can put things in slow motion. You can rotate. So now the clip is sideways. So sometimes, you know, you take video on your phone and it turns out, you know, the opposite direction of what you want it to be. You can rotate it here to fix that. And if you've taken your own video, you can also click the Stabilize video, and that'll take out some of the camera shake. And you can change how strong the stabilization is here. And that works pretty well, actually. You also have up at the top two other tabs where you can add filters, which I'm not going to play with, but if you're doing something creative, you might want to. Like I could suddenly turn On the Waterfront into something really psychedelic by putting the thermal filter on. So now we have Eva Marie Saint in fuchsia. If you click one by accident, all you have to do is click it again and it takes the filter off, thankfully. And you always have the option to preview the effects side by side with the original video. So if we click that, we get two screens. So if I apply it, I can see the original and then the version with the filter. But we're going to take that off and get rid of the side by side effects. You can also add text to the video, which we'll come back to, and you can change the audio, whether you want it louder, quieter. Panning means, is it more in the left speaker or the right speaker, and then you can adjust the treble and bass too. but we're not going to play with the audio. So you click back in the timeline, and I've got my 5-second clip. So now let's add some text. I'm going to add a banner because I like the way the banner setup goes, and it's easier if you're using a lot of text to do a banner. You can't fit very much text in any of these slides, but you can fit some. So when you add one of these text slides, it automatically comes out as 2 seconds long, and nobody's going to be able to read anything substantial in 2 seconds. So I always make mine 5 or 6 seconds long. I'm not really precise about it. And as you can see, you can change the font, make it bold, italics, the size, the color, the background color, where it's aligned, the position. So we'll put it in the center and still keep it aligned to the left. You can change the height. I'm going to leave it in black and white. The font size, you can see that the medium size is fairly large. So a lot of times I work in extra small or double extra small because chances are your students are looking at it on a bigger screen. So let's put in some text. And my text is going to say, and as I type, you can see, if you pause while you're typing, it'll update the text. It doesn't automatically wrap the text, so when you get to the end of the line, when you're running out of space, you're going to want to hit return to start a new line. So I've added text that says, now watch in slow-mo and pay attention to the movement of Eva Marie Saint's right eyebrow. Simple enough. That tells the students what they're going to do next, what they're doing with this video clip. So now, of course, I said they're going to watch in slow-mo, so we have to add a slow-mo clip. So click back in the timeline so that you get the full video palette here. And click back on my videos, and I'm going to add the same clip again, and I'm going to shorten it so that I get the same segment again. But now I'm going to set it in slow motion. So I click it, then I click the slow motion box, and I'm going to make it 4 times as slow, so a quarter of the speed that it originally is. And then you see the clip in slow motion, and there's her right eyebrow arching and coming back down. And since it's a fairly short clip, I want my students to be able to see it again. So just do the same thing. But this time, I'm going to add a banner. I'm going to add text to the video itself. So there'll be text over the bottom. And we'll put it in slow motion again. And this time I'm going to add some text. And I'm going to keep the text. You can put text across the top, center, or bottom of the clip. And I want it at the bottom. Again, I'm going to put it in extra small size so that I can fit everything. And you have to be sure to click Enable Text so that you can see the text overlay. So I'm asking my students, do you think this movement was automatic or intentional? And does it change Eva Marie Saint's performance? And what does it convey? And now you see my questions to my students appear across the bottom of the video. And yes, it looks very glitchy, pixelated, but that's just because this is kind of the draft format. That all smooths out in the end. So now I'm going to click out in the timeline and I can watch what I've put together. So I see that that text is getting cut off, so I want to go back and change the font size there. And the font size is fine in this clip. All of the text is showing, so I'm going to go back to my banner and change it from extra small to extra small, which makes it much smaller, but everything fits on the screen and I don't have to worry about anything getting cut off. So we'll just make sure, double check that it comes out correctly. Okay, that looks good. So when you're done, up here in the top right hand corner, you can click Publish. Make sure you put a title. So my title is Eva Marie Saint's eyebrow. And now I'm going to click Publish. And that's all there is. You'll get this message that says your video is currently being processed. Please check back in a few minutes. On this page is where you can do a few other things while you're waiting. When you work in the video editor, the description of your video automatically says, I created this video with the YouTube Video Editor. If you kind of put your mouse over that, a little pencil comes up. If you click that, you can change the description. You can get rid of that completely, or you can keep it. But I'm going to add a description. So I've added just the brief description, a study of the gesture on the waterfront, directed by Elia Kazan, 1954. When you edit the description, you can also change the privacy setting. So the default is always public, unless you go into your main account settings and change that. You can make it private, which means nobody can see it, or you can make it unlisted, which means it's not going to show up in search results, but if you give the link to somebody, they'll be able to see it. So if you want your students to be able to see something and nobody else, then you can make it unlisted and then embed it in Moodle or email the link or put the link in Moodle. I'm just going to leave mine public though. And then you click Save. If you want to add keywords to your video, kind of search terms, if you click the pencil above your title, you'll see it pops up and says Info and Settings. That's another place where you can change the title. Say you changed your mind and you want to call it something different. You can also edit the description again, and then you can add tags, which are the keywords I was talking about. So it suggests some tags automatically, like Eva Marie Saint. So I'm going to add that, but I can do On the Waterfront, and there's On the Waterfront Film, Elia Kazan, film director, gesture, field of study, performance studies, field of study. There are some advanced settings where you can set whether people can comment on the video, view ratings. Here's where you set the license and rights ownership, where you can do standard YouTube license or Creative Commons attribution. You can set the category, where you can always put it under education if it's for your class. You can set the language. You can allow embedding, which means if you allow embedding, then you can embed the video so that the video appears in Moodle. If you don't allow embedding, then you can't do that. You can put age restrictions if you think your video is not age appropriate. But I don't usually mess with those too much. So once you're done adjusting the settings, you can save changes, and then to go back, you click the little arrow up in the top right corner. And in that span of time, the video has finished loading. So we're seeing the playback of the video as it turned out. And I've been able to check and make sure the text is all showing up correctly. What I want to be seen is seen. Things I didn't want are cut out. And that's it.